All right. Woo! You feel it?
I know. Ooh, that was brutal. Yeah, sorry. I mean, I am replacing drone seeds, so if you guys are excited about them, they are doing some cool stuff. But they're meeting with an investor. You know, you could probably cut them some slack. So I'm Alex. I'm co-founder and CEO of Silene Biotech, and I'd love to talk to you guys today about the future of medicine. So I'll start with a story, and this is a picture of my dad's side of the family, and this is my grandfather. Throughout his entire life, he suffered from a series of heart attacks and unfortunately passed away from one before I was even born. Now, this strapping young gentleman is my dad, and he has actually a pretty healthy heart. But about 2 years ago, after drinking an energy drink, he felt lightheaded. It turns out the caffeine triggered an underlying condition he never knew he had called atrial fibrillation, and he ended up suffering from 2 minor strokes. So this is a picture of my dad and I about a year ago when I defended my PhD in bioengineering. And despite being a bioengineer, I feel helpless because there's no way for me or my dad to know what other drugs or food might cause his trigger his atrial fibrillation. So all we can do is really just sit back and wait. That's because current medicine is reactive and generalized. But as a bioengineer, I like to think about the future of medicine. And in the future, medicine will be much more personalized and predictive. And with advancements in technology, we'll be able to take cells from patients, convert them into stem cells, turn these stem cells into other cell types like heart cells. With these heart cells, we can then do things like screen drugs for safety or even transplant them back into the body for regenerative medicine. So this might sound like science fiction, but these are images of cells, stem cells, and beating heart cells that I grew in my lab using stem cell technology. In fact, this technology won the Nobel Prize in 2012, and stem cells are in clinical trials to treat diseases like heart disease, macular degeneration, type 1 diabetes, and many more. Actually, my own cells are undergoing this process right now to screen my heart cells for sensitivity to certain drugs. So as you can see, our cells are an incredible platform for personalized medicine, but personalized medicine can't wait. As we age, our DNA changes and loses valuable information, and this in turn causes our cells to mutate and become more damaged, and these become less safe and effective for future use. So, unfortunately, the best time to use your cells or store them for future use is actually right now, and by storing them ahead of time, you can use them immediately when you need them. Because of this, Silene Biotech has worked on a cell preservation service, and really what this means is a low-volume blood draw, processing your cells or stem cells and isolating them, and then screening them to ensure that we can use them in the future. Once they've been screened, we then cryopreserve them and store them with our storage partners long term. And after about a year of work, we've been able to launch our FDA-registered stem cell preservation service here in downtown Seattle through partnerships with Bloodworks Northwest and CoMotion at the University of Washington, and we're just getting started. But along the way, we've learned a number of lessons, and I'd like to share them with you. And really the main one for me is building the right team. I've been really fortunate to work with people that I like working with, and not too many people can really say that I was able to build the right team chemistry-wise. But if you notice on the back behind me, there's not, there's missing some icons are missing as well. But most of these people are actually science and medicine-based, and because of this, now we've got a new challenge in our hands, which is not product, but rather finding our customers and marketing this so we can grow our business. That leads me to our next lesson, which is really understanding our customers. We've been also fortunate enough to have people who believe in our mission, have used our service, and who are enthusiastic and told us about, tell their friends about us. But we really need to know who these people are and dig deeper to understand why they're buying and how to find more of them. So that's something we're currently working on. The reason why we're focused on this is because our vision is to build your personalized medicine platform. We're starting with cell preservation in a low-volume blood draw because it's straightforward and easy. And we're right now launched in Seattle, and we're expanding to San Francisco as well as LA. But our goal is to democratize all this technology and expand around the country. And the reason why we focus on cell preservation is because this really fundamentally is the foundation of your personalized medicine platform. That should be in the middle somewhere, but it's not. And what we can do with your preserved cells are add other services like genetic testing, drug toxicity screening, or even regenerative medicine, which is what my PhD was in. So I'd like to end by saying, at Silene Biotech, not only do we know that the future of medicine is personalized, but we're actively working to reach this. So if you believe in this vision or you have questions, we are looking for team members, we're looking for investors, and we're looking for customers. So find me and talk to me after this. Thank you. Yeah, so we've built a great team on product and science and technology, and right now what we're looking for people to help us market this. So we've been able to launch a successful product, we think. It's only here in Seattle, and we've got a number of customers, but we'd love to be able to grow that and find more people in other cities.
How long would it be until you can do organ transplants?
Yeah, so the question was, how long would it take until we can do organ transplants? So I always answer that with two caveats because I'm a scientist. I'm always like very cautious. But the first caveat is probably the technology to get there, I don't know, is honestly within a decade or two, so 10, 20 years. But the real thing is we might not ever need full organ transplants. The idea really is that we can take small amounts of tissue and regenerate them right now. So in a heart, the reason why we need a whole heart transplant is because you can't just transplant part of the heart. But with stem cells and being able to use them and kind of engineer them, you might be able to finally replace just the portion of the organ that's being degenerative. So,
Those technologies that you're developing, does that work for mental illness as well?
that's a really interesting question. So the question was mental illness and like regenerative therapy. So really quickly, not necessarily anecdote, a really awesome study looked at bipolar disorder, and they specifically found that the neurons in people with bipolar disorder and people with depression function differently than those with people who are healthy. Because these neurons function differently for bipolar disorder, they're able to screen drugs and see which drugs actually rectified the bipolar disorder in the patient's cells outside of the body. And then they correlated that with clinical data and found that they found a direct correlation. So the idea really is that not only can your cells be used, for regeneration, which potentially that's the big one, but we can even screen drugs outside your body for drug efficacy. And there, again, that was published a couple years ago. It was a really incredible study.
One more question.
There's marketing wisdom that says it's very hard to sell prevention if someone doesn't have a problem right away. It's hard to get them to say, I'm going to preserve these cells in case I get sick in the future. Have you found that to affect your business?
That's a good question. It was basically like let's say a vitamin versus a painkiller, or preventative versus something that's currently active. So the answer is yes. Essentially, it is harder to market to people because right now everybody, hopefully we're all feeling pretty good right now, and it's I'm telling you, you guys got to spend some money, store your cells, and use them later. The interesting thing is we have found customers in which this is a pain point. They're worried about something that's happened in their family or a family history of disease. So those are people that we've been talking to a lot. Maybe they have the breast cancer gene, or there's a family history of Alzheimer's. But eventually, this won't become necessarily just a speculative purchase. The technology is advancing to a point where we think people will be able to benefit from this technology today with diagnostics and screening. So that's actually something that we're working on. I didn't have time to get into it, but we have an open collaboration with the Seattle Cancer Care Alliance to screen drug safety for their cancer patients. So the idea is, you store your cells today, regenerate your body tomorrow, and sometime in between, we can help optimize and improve your health. So thank you, guys.